We got
It's been a long
Awaken I
time coming
Am.
for this one.
It has. Awaken I Am have finally dropped their album. The Only Way Out is Through.
I'm giving everything to you, and I thought I'd have to choose whether I can live without this. Every night another view, now I'm coming back to you. Gotta get you out of my head.
I think it's the first or second episode we ever recorded. We talked about roses. Right? Am I crazy? Maybe the third.
Yes.
It
was
I
early
think that dropped-
2020.
I think that dropped April 2020, I want to say.
That's crazy. It's been a long time coming, guys.
So the EP
It's
dropped
been-
in 2019, right?
Yeah, the
So
EP
it's been
was
6 years.
2019. 26 years since the E EP.
Okay. Then let me pose this question. Was it worth the 6-year wait?
No. Honestly, they made me wait too long. And I wasn't very excited about this album because I waited way too long.
I agree.
Yep.
Jake and Justin. Justin, for you, I know you love this album. I saw your review that you posted. 6 years, was the wait worth it? And if so, why?
I think it's hard to say because
Wow.
I haven't gone back to that EP in a while, or album, whatever they call it. I think the band obviously needed time to kind of heal after everything
Absolutely.
that went
Mm.
down. I think this album was a slow burn. I think there was a good chance for it coming out within the last year or two, and it not, with how many singles we got on this album leading up to it. I feel like a lot of it was kind of out already, and with the album dropping now, there isn't much different. Like, obviously, what we got, Take Me Under, Somebody Else, 52, which is an interlude,
And the Looking Glass, yeah.
which is an interlude. So, like, we got 2 new songs and 2 interludes in this album drop. I think this album should have come out earlier.
Mhm.
I still enjoyed it. I still really like it.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm with you there. Like, I totally agree.
I mentioned it in the short that it did, but like Jimmy, phenomenal producer and vocalist. He helped produce To Better Days, which we all had as like top 5 of that year.
Mhm.
And it really goes to show just how phenomenal his craft is in this. I don't know what logistics went on in the background. Obviously, I think they ended up I think they were on SBG when Relic dropped. I don't remember on that.
I want to say they were.
There was definitely a lead up into that, and I think some logistics came through. And something I've also noticed about SBG on how they like hold stuff is that they'll release a lot at the same time. Like, we only just got the Nerve EP last month, and then Archers dropped, Awaken I Am dropped the same month. Sunsleep is I think, as we're recording this, Sunsleep is teasing a new song for next week. And I think that album's probably not too far off from dropping. SBG, I think, is the main reason why this album was held back as much as it was. Obviously, I think they were still working on it, so I think there was like some logistical things also going on with it as well. I won't get too much more into that because it's a lot of stuff that we could theorize about on why
That's
this album took
speculation.
6 years.
Yeah.
What we have now, like leading up to this is still a very, very good album. Tie Up is still my favorite because that's still
Mine
so
too.
good.
Yep.
I love the instrumentation, Jimmy's vocals into that chorus. It's just so fucking good. Relic holds up really well. I love Afterlife. That's probably been the song I've replayed the most in the last 30 days. I was really glad that I saved it for the album. I don't think it would have changed much if I really did. Like, to be honest, going and like looking at the album now, I was afraid there was going to be more singles non-singles in the album, which is why I saved as many songs as I did when they dropped. Going back to it, I probably listening to Vacant and Afterlife before the album would not have really changed anything for me because I'd already heard 5 of the singles before now. And that's already half the album, so I don't think waiting really helped me on that one. But I did enjoy the experience going through it, and there was a clear theme of Afterlife in this with Take Me Under, some of the lyrics for Turn to Stone, Tightrope, I think House of Cards as well. There's a little bit of a thematic, and I think it's kind of, I don't know if it is supposed to play it into from the previous EP. I don't know how relevant that was when creating this, but I think there's like a pleasant theme of the afterlife in this.
Is
I
it
guess
good? Is
on
it
that
bad?
note,
I didn't really listen to lyrics, honestly.
yeah, me either. I don't have much to dig into lyrically, but yeah, I have not kept it a secret that Awaken I Am have kind of bored me over the past 2 years. For every single we talked about, it was you guys all praising the song and being like, come on, announce the album. And there I was, just, it's fine. It's mid. It's okay. It's good. In just such an, I'm just uninterested tone for as good as the songs were, I was not interested. Putting all of these songs together in the context of the album, and it's great. Front to back. A very enjoyable listen. Probably a top 10 album I've heard so far this year, in part due to how weak albums have generally been this year. But I also think a large part of that is that we stopped talking about the singles when the singles started getting really good, with Afterlife and Vacant being my 2 favorite songs on here and being the final 2 singles leading up into this album's release. I loved the instrumentation and the vocals in both Afterlife and Vacant. And in context of the album, I think songs like Turn to Stone, especially Relic, and to an extent Tightrope as well, got a lot better. I think the only song that I am still very underwhelmed with is House of Cards. That song is just as mid as it was.
Still don't know how
when it was a single. I'm
right there with
don't
you,
know.
Jake. It's my least favorite song.
Like House of Cards. House of Cards is my clear least favorite on this album, and like
we killed him. He's in the afterlife,
and that's on the thumbnail.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, got his ass.
Got him.
Awesome. But yeah, no, it's a really good album, and like, yeah, it was a slow burn, but at least for me, I think they kicked it into high gear at the perfect time with Vacant and Afterlife, and then you save Take Me Under and Somebody Else being another one of my favorite songs on this album, potentially a top 3 song on this album.
Yup.
I love the build and the progression in that song. Yeah, I came into this album with such middling expectations. And I've been very open that Awaken I Am album is going to drop, and I'm going to ignore it because Hot Milk is dropping an album on the same day, and I'm not giving this album the time that it deserves because it's Awaken I Am, and they have been on a middling path for me, and Hot Milk are one of my favorite bands of all time, and like, I'm just not going to give Awaken I Am the fair chance that they deserve. And I'm happy to report that, no, I have actually been listening to Awaken I Am a non-dissimilar amount to how much I've been listening to the new Hot Milk album that we're going to get into shortly, but not to derail this conversation on The Only Way Out Is Through. But yeah, for how middling I've been openly about this album cycle, I enjoyed this a lot more than I expected to. Almost every single that I was middling on has gotten better in context of the album.
Yeah, I think a really good thing about this album is that we're going to look at this album probably a year, 2 years from now. Forget that all of the singles dropped as non-singles or not. We're probably pretty bitter about that. And like, it's still going to be a phenomenal album, like top to bottom. That's the way it goes sometimes when we do these types of shows. We like to talk about what we like, we sometimes have to talk about singles that may or may not be on any future projects, and who knows what that's going to end up like. And it's what we, have to pick and choose when what we talk about, and sometimes it works out for us, sometimes it doesn't. But I think in this particular instance, I think the band did as well as they could given the circumstances, whether it be back end stuff or whatnot. I'm really excited to see where it goes from here when we get another album in 15 years.
15 years, about accurate. I did want to say quickly before we moved on that the title of the album with like The Only Way Out Is Through, like, I mean, I can't remember the context for where that got popularized. I want to say it was in some cartoon or show a while ago. But that the concept of it being that like the only way to get out of this is to get through it or burst through it or just survive it. And I think that seems to be... What were you going to say?
It's a Robert Frost quote.
Okay. He is a poet, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's about human suffering, which makes sense in the context of the album.
I was gonna say, in the context of the album, in terms of like whether it be relationship struggles or life struggles, I think there's a double meaning you could apply either to songs like Tightrope.
I was also going to say there could be meaning of The Only Way Out Is Through. This is their first album in 6 years. Like they went through a lot of grief after that 2019 EP.
Honestly.
And like maybe they've had this album on the back burner for a while, and just like there's been a lot of stuff personally in their lives. Like obviously like losing someone that you knew so close, like that's like some of the most grief that you can experience as a human emotion. So like the fact that this album even came out at all, I think is a testament to The Only Way Out Is Through.
Absolutely. This album, more than anything else, I think it earns its title. It's, I've got songs that I could say are my least favorites, but at the end of the day, it's still an Awaken I Am album. Like the floor is high. Yeah. Definitely one of the better overall albums that I've heard this year.
I think we can talk about all day how like the release rollout, could have been better. But at the end of the day, when we go back and listen to our albums at the end of the year, like we're only going to look at it as it was released.
Yeah, and we're also looking at it from a fan perspective and not from a personal perspective. We don't, like you were talking about, Justin, we don't know what happened. So as annoying as it is, it's only annoying because we like the band so much.
We do, yeah.
That being said, why was Roses not on here? I don't get it.
Real.
They could have remastered Roses.
I think it would have been honestly on here, but I'd say that halfway.
Okay, quick tangent before we move on. Where would Roses place on the album if it was on the album?
Probably after Turn to Stone.
Turn to Stone or somebody else.
Yeah. The
being pretty early.
Lyrically, I think it fits the most there.
Throw Roses on there. Throw another
I'm not gonna argue
because we like to get spicy with interludes. Apparently,
I'm not gonna argue with that.
I'm gonna put a playlist together where you can fix albums by taking songs out of them in playlists. I'm gonna throw.
Hey, that's what I did with Volumes. I fixed that album.
Volumes banned for
as much as I love that album, that is extremely valid.
Yes.
Shout out the To Better Days with the correct heavier.
Real.
So they fixed it.
God
damn.
I asked for that last year, and then Bill Murray literally gave it to me. So